What's up, guys? Today I'm bringing you yet another replacement video, this time again for Shadow Victreebel, and once again it is not a Shadow Razor Lever. So for some reason you can't find a Don't Tangle with us Grunt and get a Shadow Grotle. This is actually a team that I played with a long time ago. I used this very exact Meganium when I first started GBL, so a bit nostalgic for me, but once again it does have a bit of a different play style. Meganium can't win switch advantage against as many Pokemon. It can't force that against as many Pokemon as Shadow Victreebel. But if you can get shields down at the end, it provides another win condition for you. So I would say very good in this team, but it requires a slightly different play style, and one that it takes me a little bit to get used to here as well. Yeah, as you can see, this Meganium's, the IVs are awful. It's a community Meganium before we realized what PvP was. So I'm pretty sure it has 15 attack. I'm not sure about the other stats, but it doesn't even really max out close to 1500. I do need a new Meganium, but just because I do have some success here with Meganium, it kind of proves that IVs aren't the end-all be-all of Pokemon Go. So against Galarian Stunfisk, I don't really know how much Rock Slides are going to take, so I tank 2 of them there. I get a shield and use Frenzy Plant and switch out just to get some damage, because I realized that I can farm down on my Deoxys Defense. So Deoxys Defense comes in and Azumarill comes in. So this is a pretty standard matchup you've probably seen hundreds of times. I wasn't sure if I wanted to try and win switch advantage there, but after I shielded the Hydro Pump, I'm like, I for sure want this switch advantage. And I call the bait correctly, and I'm going to farm down this Azumarill. Even though I'm slightly debuffed, they didn't shield the Psycho Boost, which is super odd to me. So I actually I shield this Rock Slide here because I have so many Psycho Boosts loaded. I can just get rid of this. Get rid of this Galarian Stunfisk, and they have a Toxic Croak in the back. So unfortunately, I switch into Deoxys Defense, and I really shouldn't have there. I should have waited for Toxic Croak to clear his energy on Bastiodon, because one Psycho Boost and Toxic Croak goes down. So I kind of messed that up quite a bit. A lot of misplays in that first game, but that's just trying to get used to some of the matchups. So Altaria versus Meganium, awful for Meganium as it is for Shadow Victreebel. Earthquake doesn't even really hit it, so its coverage move isn't even very useful. But I tank the Sky Attack, and they go into Deoxys Defense, and their goal here, if it's a player who's played against the old team, is to keep switch advantage at all costs. But somehow they let through 2 Thunderbolts, and I realize at this point I can actually win back switch advantage just by shielding some moves here. So I have to blow both my shields as they farmed all the way up, and I'm really hoping they don't have Psycho Boost, and they don't. So even though I managed to keep switch advantage, but they come out with a Meganium, and I'm in a bit of a tight spot here. If this was Victreebel, I'd be in a tougher situation even, just because Meganium could just charge up to an Earthquake, finish off my Meganium. But as you can see, even though their Meganium has less CP, it's a tankier Meganium. My Meganium almost goes down to 2 Frenzy Plants. I think their Meganium would have survived that too, so kind of lucky that they shielded there. We're going to see if Bastiodon can tank an Earthquake. I think he can, with just a little bit of health remaining, so we have to hope that this is enough to deal with this Altaria, but from experience, I am guessing it isn't quite. Altaria, while doing almost no damage to Bastiodon, does just enough, and 1 Smackdown away. So I was in a very similar situation with the last team, actually. Switch advantage at all costs can kind of end up like that, but you can see even with that huge advantage on health, Bastiodon almost won. So Unova and Stunfisk, they swap out into Medicham. I was kind of used to not having something like Deoxys Defense, used to running something weak to fighting. So now that they swapped into Medicham, I actually have another answer to this. I don't have to stay in with Meganium, especially because Meganium is weak to or not weak to fighting, but doesn't resist fighting. So I'm able to take down this Medicham. I probably shouldn't have spent all my energy there, but it doesn't really matter. They're going to come back in with a Stunfisk, and while Victreebel can kind of just farm Stunfisk all the way down, Meganium likes if there's a little bit of damage done. So these Psycho Boosts are more important in this game. I don't throw a counter in between them because we both have two turn fast moves, so they're getting a free Thunder Shock anyways. But I'm going to let this through, and then I'm going to farm this guy down, or attempt to, on my Meganium, and the threat of that is just enough to make them switch. So in comes Abomasnow, and they know they're done as soon as Bastiodon has the opportunity to farm him down. I still have Meganium to deal with the Stunfisk in the back. So I think that's our first win. And these mirror matches are just going to showcase how bad of an IVs this Meganium has. So the benefit is that I'm going to win the CMP ties, but look how much damage that Frenzy Plant does. It's almost nothing. And you're going to see when we both get into the yellow here, or I'm going to drop into the yellow a little bit before them, which means that, oh yeah, because I blocked that Frenzy Plant, I'm already in the yellow. Which means that if I take another Frenzy Plant, I won't survive, and he can probably tank one more. So even though I win CMP, I probably don't win that matchup, and I realize that. I swap into Drifblim to counter Deoxys, but we have both spent a shield already, so neither of us want to shield. And I know Deoxys can't really do much against Drifblim if they're willing to blow a shield anyway. So this is the ideal scenario again. Go into Bastiodon first, switch to Meganium, draw out their Meganium counter, and repeat. It's not as important with Meganium. You can do it the other way, because if Meganium can farm someone down, you can also get off a ton of charge moves. So I swap into Meganium here. I know I have a little bit of an energy advantage, and they're going to go into Galvantula. And I don't quite get to the Earthquake, which is super unfortunate. I probably should have just thrown the Frenzy Plant anyways. It does a ton of damage to Galvantula, but I guess in the end, what I really want to do is farm down this Galvantula and come in to this next matchup with a charge move all ready to go. So we're going to see the Flamethrower into this Meganium. Meganium definitely doesn't appreciate fire moves, and we're going to get another win here. So it seems to be performing decently. I really wish it had better IVs, because I could have stayed in against the other Meganium and just one switch advantage back. But that wasn't an option. So we're going to see a Shiftry in the lead. I swap immediately into Deoxys Defense, and I catch a Leaf Blade, which is super important for that matchup. It's an IV dependent 2-shield win, but if you catch a Leaf Blade, it's not IV dependent anymore. And they swap into their Deoxys, and I have to really hope that they start letting through some charge moves here, and that maybe I can farm them down. So similar situation as that last Deoxys game. If you let their Deoxys get a little bit lower than you, you can actually win back switch advantage, even if you take a charge move as well. And they're going to come into Galarian Stunfisk, so this isn't a great situation. They still have both their shields up, so you don't have something like Shadow Victreebel that can kind of just guarantee you this this kill through 2 shields. But unlike Shadow Victreebel, you can take an Earthquake no problem. I'm actually not sure why they chose to Earthquake there. It's a bit confusing. I think Rock Slide is better damage per energy when Earthquake is resisted against just regular grass. So I was wondering if that was either a misclick, or they just don't know their type effectiveness. But I'm going to try and farm down this Shiftry all the way, and so I can have a Flamethrower to throw at this Galarian Stunfisk. They're going to have to shield, because otherwise they will go down. And I'm going to swap into Meganium, and it looks like they are just a bit above a Frenzy Plant away. I actually catch an Earthquake, so that's so important. If he throws 2 Rock Slides, I'm done. But because he doesn't, I'm going to get to another Frenzy Plant, and I think this is enough to KO. So yeah, Meganium just barely surviving there. Just the general tankiness of Meganium. It's kind of nice running Meganium and Bastiodon on the same team. I think I remember reading, like, way back in season 1, someone did like a TDO analysis, like an average damage output analysis on and Meganium and Bastiodon were number 1 and number 2. They're just so tanky, and Well, especially Bastiodon, but Meganium just deals a ton of damage. So that first set, even though we started 0-2, which is a bit scary, we ended 3-2 with some really close games. Meganium versus Umbreon. I think this is very Meganium favored. It's Meganium versus like Umbreon and Bastiodon, where these Pokemon are very tanky. It allows Meganium to get to repeated Frenzy Plants, and these Frenzy Plants just hit so hard. But I'm gonna elect to switch out to my Bastiodon here. I'm not sure if this is a good play. I would do it on Victreebel, so I decided to see what would happen on Umbreon, and I'm just hoping that they don't run. They're not running a flyer in the back like Altaria or Tropius. But since I had the favorable lead, oh yeah, I try to farm them down a bit, and I realize it's not going to work. I'm at full energy, and they're actually going to shield, which is fine. That's what I wanted, was them to shield there. And they're going to double shield, so they're going to try and win back switch advantage. I'll blow a shield. I don't really care at this point. I want to keep up switch advantage because I know I have that very favorable matchup in the Stunfisk, and unfortunately the Stunfisk is Thundershock, so actually I don't think they need to throw a charge move. I think they just need to tank my charge move and go into the next match with a ton of energy. And they do have a flyer, but it is Skarmory. That's the flyer that Deoxys can by far the most easily deal with, especially in shields down. Thunderbolt just hits so hard. I think they're going to try and get to a Brave Bird or something, but I'm going to let it through. I don't even think a Brave Bird KOs at that point. It's very close, but then there's a debuff Skarmory, and Meganium can just take him down. Yeah, we'll see. Even 4 times resisted, a Vine Whip will be enough to take down a 3 times debuffed Skarmory. So there's another one matchup, just kind of guaranteeing the one lead there, just following up on the counters. You kind of have to predict what the team in the back will have there, but we guessed right. So Scrafty, bit of lag. There's a lot of lag in these sets. I actually had to disinclude a set because I think there were 3 games in a row. I was just having issues. I don't know why I kept queuing where I couldn't attack at all. One of my opponents was very nice, didn't even like attack back for like 2 or 3 minutes. But I let through an acid spray, or I've never seen a Scrafty run acid spray before, so I'm forced to swap out, and they're running a Shadow Victreebel in the back. So this is very interesting. I wait to throw some Psycho Boosts before their Body Slam comes out, just in case they Body Slam me, and then I don't have to spend a shield, because I know I can't win back switch advantage if they are willing to spend the shields. I don't quite get to that next Psycho Boost. I come in with Bastiodon. This is a pretty good matchup. I know the charge move isn't Leaf Blade, right? It's Body Slam. That's the main downside of running Grotle. And I'm able to take him down, and they go back in with the Scrafty, but because Meganium is weakened Scrafty so much from the beginning, all they have left is Skarmory, and it's a pretty easy game from there. It's the same kind of theory as as Victreebel and Bastiodon. If you have both of them alive at the end against one Pokemon, and they don't really have shields, like you'll probably win. You cover almost everything in the meta. So in this case, they come into Galarian Stunfisk. I try and bait the Earthquake, and then I wanted to get him a bit low, and then swap into Deoxys Defense. But the problem here, and this is not an issue you run into Shadow Victreebel, is that now because I've stayed in for so long, the switch timer is kind of coming back around for him. So when I swap into Deoxys Defense, this switch timer is almost up already, and they're able to swap out. So this was a pretty big mistake for me. I probably should have just thrown the Frenzy Plant right away, because then they don't shield it, and then swap into Deoxys Defense right away and just farm all the way down on the Galarian Stunfisk. But instead, I now have to deal with this Swampert and Galarian Stunfisk. I guess I do have 2 shields, but their switch timer, yeah. Oh, I don't know if they lagged there, or they just knew that they weren't even going to get a charge move off. It looks like some lag, unfortunately. Yeah, so I stop here. It doesn't look like they're going to reconnect. There were errors like this all day for both sides, unfortunately. It doesn't feel good to win like that, but I do think I was in a pretty good position anyways because it did. Oh no, because they had a Skarmory. Yeah, it would have been kind of tough. But they're down a shield. I would have had to charge up 2 flamethrowers on the Skarmory and then unleash both on Galarian Stunfisk. So it would have been doable, but just require a lot of finesse. But yeah, it's like to win like that. Another Meganium Mirror. I'm seeing a lot of Meganiums today compared to other days. This Meganium also has not a great CP. I've been looking at the Meganium CPs because I just want to see how the IVs are like. And it's gonna throw a Frenzy Plant. I think it charged up to an Earthquake. But look, I'm already well in the yellow. They're just getting in the yellow now. When I throw this Frenzy Plant, they're still decently healthy. I think if I take another Frenzy Plant, I might actually faint and just lose switch advantage. So unfortunately, IV's forced me to swap out here. And I've even farmed down the Meganium a little bit and blown a shield. And now Galarian Stunfisk comes in. So this is not good. If you're against a loaded up Deoxys defense, you want to swap in your Galarian Stunfisk, even though you're going to take damage from the counters, because Psycho Boost don't really do anything. Thunderbolt definitely doesn't do anything. So I'm just going to keep throwing Psycho Boost here. They end up having to shield one of the last ones. They probably should have shielded the first one. But yeah, I realize I can't win switch advantage back after that shield, and I'm going to go into Deoxys. I think I make a decision to just tank that, and we swap at the exact same time, same idea, into Bastiodon and Meganium, so I get that free energy there to bring it to this matchup. This matchup is probably going to become a baiting game now. I think I have to either successfully shield a Hydro Pump, or I have to call the Ice Beam or play rough bait. So I successfully shield the Hydro Pump, but it still might not be enough. This is probably going to be a Hydro Pump. They know I have no shields, and I'm going to come back in on Meganium, and I have to try and farm down and go for the Frenzy Plant on Azumarill, and we have a simultaneous feint, so we're just one turn away from actually winning that game, which is pretty good considering how he outplayed me on the Deoxys Galarian Stunfisk matchup. So, all right, this is Tropius. Tropius also extremely strong against Deoxys defense. And they're going to go into Galarian Stunfisk. So same thing as last game. Very smartly played. I'm going to shield because I think it's an Earthquake. And I'm at max energy. I really want to just get some of these Psycho Boosts off because the health is very important. It's not like Shadow Victreebel. You can't just power through shields like that. If I can get them low enough to farm down, or even potentially win switch advantage, then that's great. But I decided to give a switch advantage, go for the swap, and I catch a Rock Slide instead of an Earthquake. So that's not even that great. And they go back into their Tropius. So you're going to see how much damage these Frenzy Plants do. It's not a lot. 4 times resisted. This is why I don't usually like throwing grass moves at flyers, even if they're like overpowered community day moves. And Tropius is going to have a field day and farm all the way down. So misplay on my part. I don't know why I swapped back into Meganium. I should have just lost the switch advantage and done the normal play of dancing around Bastiodon and Meganium to bring energy into whatever their Bastiodon counter in the back is going to be. So I have to bank, I think, that this is an Earthquake, and it is Earthquake. So I'm not even going to see their final Pokemon, I don't think. Oh no, I do. It's a Deoxys. Yeah, that would have been a very tough matchup, even if I had played properly. Even though I lost a reward with a Dino. So another 3 out of 5 set. A lot of the games are very close. That last game wasn't, but yeah, as you can see, a lot of similar matchups, but you do have to adjust the playstyle. This is similar to the Galarian Stunfisk closer team. It takes a little bit to get used to playing around shield advantage instead of switch advantage sometimes. We're going to see an Umbreon lead. Umbreon into Meganium is slightly Meganium favored in even shields. Well, especially low number of shields if they're not willing to commit to. We're going to see a foul play. And yeah, I'm dealing much more damage than they are. If they want to survive, they're going to have to start shielding. Frenzy Plants. I throw 1 attack and then go. Because they have a 3-turn fast move. And I'm going to get to another Frenzy Plant here. So I'm going to shield. immediately throw my Frenzy Plant because I don't know if they have another Foul Play stored up. And the one shield, Meganium comfortably wins. So they're going to come into the Venusaur. And I'm going to swap into Deoxys. I'm not really sure if that was the correct play. Or if I should have let... yeah, I should have let Meganium go down. But then I wouldn't really have a good answer to this Azumarill. I realize I really need this shield to deal with Venusaur. And they're just going to let me throw Thunderbolts. I realize they might want to save their shield for Venusaur, so I'm going to burn that right away with Psycho Boost. Actually, they let it through. I guess they didn't realize I was running Psycho Boost, so that made this game more doable. The problem... yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. I saw them in a Meganium to try and catch the charge move, but they wait a little bit. And that's really smart by them, but it ends up not mattering. Bastiodon doesn't actually have a very good matchup versus Venusaur. Venusaur does a ton of damage, especially if it has some energy already on Frenzy Plants. So that's why I was trying to catch it there, but I guess Venusaur was so low, it probably wouldn't have mattered anyways. Okay, so Haunter, this matchup is way worse for Meganium than it is for Shadow Victreebel. I'm just going to throw Frenzy Plants. The thing is, I know even if I shield here... oh, he does go for a Sludge Bomb, but if he's just going for Shadow Punches, he can still beat me in the 2 shields. Luckily, I get 2 shields from him there. He's going to go for another charge move, Shadow Punch this time. I think he's realized it. And even though he failed the bait for the Sludge Bomb, he's still going to beat me to the Shadow Punch. So I'm going to go in with Bastiodon, and they're going to go in Obstagoon. So I'm really hoping that I can beat this Obstagoon. It deals super effective damage with Night Slashes, but I am doing 4 times super effective damage with counters. So it's going to go down to the wire. If I can get out of this, he gets the attack boost too. But if I can get out of this, then I'll have energy to throw out the Haunter, which would be nice. And then it's a Galarian Stunfisk. So Galarian Stunfisk in the back is a real terror. I'm not even going to let him see the Bastiodon again. We're just going to get out of there. There's 0 chance of winning there. Because I think I need 3 flamethrowers, and that's just not happening before. So Jirachi, again, Shadow Victreebel, you get out right away, but there's some play with Meganium. I probably could have stayed in. But I said a swap. They're going to swap into Umbreon, and I'm just going to see how this matchup goes. I like to not shield the first foul play, just so maybe they won't shield a couple of my charge moves. It's possible to win switch advantage back here if they don't really shield at all, because counters deal super effective damage, and I realize I have potential to win switch advantage here. Your Shadow Victreebel I would for sure take it because you can't do anything to Jirachi, but with Meganium, I probably could have just played shield advantage, but I get a shield with Thunderbolt anyways on the Jirachi. So I'm going to come in with Bastiodon. You don't really deal that much damage to Jirachi, but Jirachi's so squishy. But Doom Desires do add up and hurt. So Shadow Machamp there. We're in a bit of a rough spot. I don't have any shields. So I'm not actually sure this game is winnable at this point, but it's worth a shot if they decide to let through the Frenzy Plant, which of course they don't. People protect their Shadow Pokemon like crazy. But yeah, I have to hope I can get to a Flamethrower. And it's not going to be fast enough. They're not going to take any chances. It's going to throw the Cross Chop. So Shadow Machamp in the back. Much harder for this team to deal with if Deoxys is down as well. Just Meganium doesn't have that poison subtyping. Venusaur might be a little bit better at it, but I also don't have a Venusaur to test. Otherwise I'd be trying it already. Alright, Whimsicott. Whimsicott has a pretty good matchup against Meganium. Your Frenzy Plants aren't going to do very much damage because they're resisted. And their charms are not resisted, so I still try and play this through anyways. I'm at least going to get a shield here and go down because I realize I can't really have Deoxys defense going into Whimsicott because Whimsicott resists the counters and just will deal a ton of damage. So I'm going to go to Bastiodon. I take the charge move, so I have a shield advantage, and they're going to go into their own Bastiodon. What I like to do in Bastiodon versus Bastiodon, or just matchups in general where neither Pokemon does any damage to each other, 4 times resisted, is I just charge up, take some charge moves, and then get out of there. So this is actually looking like not too bad of a scenario now. I'm going to throw Thunderbolts at this Azumarill. I'm not sure. I either want to not debuff myself, or if they're willing to throw shields as well, to run down that switch timer, so that I can clear the debuffs and then get back in on that Bastiodon. So I do the classic Psycho Boost into Thunderbolts. They get really low, and I'm gonna switch it and Flamethrower, I guess. I don't know why Flamethrower instead of Stone Edging. I guess it was just in case they also swapped at the same time. And Flamethrower is enough to take down Azumarill anyways. It's a bit weird. But he's going to try and farm me down. He's been counting my moves, so I'm one move away. I'm going to like to let this through, and Deoxys Defense should be able to finish up Bastiodon. And yeah, he's out of there. So, so even a game where I didn't win Switch Advantage, I did win Shield Advantage with Meganium, and that was enough to kind of propel me through their back line because they didn't have any hard counters for Bastiodon. Just a light or a soft counter in Azumarill. It's actually kind of weird that they brought the Bastiodon into Azumarill, or Azumarill into Bastiodon, but I think maybe that's because their Azumarill wasn't running Hydro Pump. That's my guess. Anyways, they're gonna switch into Deoxys Defense to counter my Deoxys Defense, and we're gonna see if I can win back Switch Advantage here to let through charge moves again, and they do. So this is the third time this has happened in these couple of sets. I feel like it doesn't normally happen that often. But when it does happen, I'll take it. So they reveal they have Thunderbolt and Rock Slide. And because of that, I realized that I can counter them down for sure. In the other matchups, it was like, maybe I can do it. I should probably try. In this case, it was, oh, they for sure don't have Psycho Boost, so I can do this. Psycho Boost is just so nice. Like, having a move that charges up in 5 counters, just even to burn shields, or like throw a little bit of extra damage at the end is so nice. They're going to come into their Azumarill here. This is really the only Pokemon they have remaining that has any decent amount of health. And I want to get some Stone Edges off here for sure to get it low enough for another Pokemon to take down. I think they're going to try and farm all the way down. And they can. So they've got a lot of energy here. I can go in Deoxys, get rid of my energy, and we're going to see Meganium come in. I realize, so this is the big advantage of Meganium, is that you can comfortably tank an Ice Beam, whereas Shadow Victreebel cannot. So in these endgame scenarios, when they have a loaded Azumarill, which would normally be good enough to deal with your grass type, it doesn't really matter in this scenario. So they're playing a normal win condition for them. Like normally their Azumarill just needs an Ice Beam for your grass type to come in when you have shields down, and that's enough to win. But against Meganium, even though they're playing that that scenario that would normally give them the win, it doesn't give them the win in this case. So another 3 wins. I think that's every set's been 3 out of 5 so far. So no losing sets. When I was testing out, besides the one I had to cut because I disconnected all the time. Okay, so this is interesting. I know this matchup like the back of my hand. This is Meganium versus Shadow Victreebel. I know what all you guys want to do. You want to keep Switch Advantage too. But what you don't realize is I'm running pretty much the same team as you. I charge up to an Earthquake. I'm going to shield the Leaf Blade or Acid Spray. Doesn't matter. In fact, it's better that they used Acid Spray on me because now they don't have any energy at all. And I'm going to throw the Earthquake to make sure they throw the second shield. So because they use Acid Spray, I feel comfortable going into Bastiodon. And this is just because I want to bait out the Deoxys Defense. I don't want that Deoxys Defense around at the end because it deals so well with Bastiodon. So if I can kind of make them switch lock themselves into Deoxys Defense here, like I knew as soon as this matchup came up that I would have a very good shot at winning it, because I can burn 2 shields with Meganium. So with the Deoxys Defense, I'm able to get them very low, and I have a shield, so I can even guarantee that. But they're going to come back in with Shadow Victreebel. Psycho Boost is going to take him out before it is any modicum of damage, and they have Bastiodon, and I'm going to come with my Bastiodon. So their Bastiodon is slightly higher HP, but not enough that they can farm down my Bastiodon and come into the next matchup with energy. So my Deoxys Defense should be able to deal with it. I really hope I don't have to eat my words after watching this. But But as long as this Bastiodon doesn't come into the Deoxys defense with enough energy for a Stone Edge, this game is pretty much over. Switch Clock is also coming up, so I swap because this Bastiodon does not have any energy, and I'm gonna get that easy win. So this Meganium team does have an advantage over the standard team if you know how to play it, especially the Meganium Shadow Victreebel matchup. You have to get 2 shields, and you know they'll spend 2 shields because getting rid of the Meganium is normally so important to that team. Meganium is just such a huge threat to the back line when shields are down. So another Meganium versus Umbreon. This is a pretty standard match. I really don't throw shields until I have to here. Yeah, they're going to throw another foul play. You can live through 2 of them. No problem. And they have to shield this Frenzy Plant. Or they're just going to get farmed down. Yeah, I'll throw shields here. And I think this time I don't win the 1 shield because they don't spend a shields. But I'm ready to Frenzy Plant whatever comes in. And it's a Deoxys Defense. Deoxys Defense really does not like being Frenzy Planted. It does quite a bit of damage. But he does have shield advantage and energy advantage coming into my Deoxys. But I really do need to take out their Deoxys just due to the Bastiodon matchup here. So hopefully we'll get a shield back. With Thunderbolt, no, they don't even do that. So Azumarill, this is interesting. Azumarill with 2 shields. I charge up to a Thunderbolt just to try and get a shield. And Psycho Boost and swap out, and I do get the shield. So that's another advantage of Psycho Boost. You can bait really easily if you're willing to get out. Oh, this is another very important thing that I've had to explain to people about the Bastiodon matchup. You want to swap Bastiodon into a loaded Azumarill, because if you swap it into a fresh Azumarill, you're going to get the same amount of Stone Edges off anyways. Because what happens is they get to a Hydro Pump, they Hydro Pump, and then they bubble you down before you get to another Stone Edge. In this case, they had to throw their energy at the Bastiodon at the end so that I wouldn't get to a second Stone Edge because I came in without being bubbled down, and I'm able to tank that Rock Slide and throw this Thunderbolt and win the game. So this is actually a very important matchup. If you're going to pay close attention to one of them, pay attention to what I did there, and swapped in the Bastiodon after Bastiodon had got, Azumarill had gotten quite a few bubbles of energy in. I don't know if I explained that well enough. Okay, Alolan Marowak lead. This is a disaster for Shadow Victreebel, but you have a lot of play against this as Meganium. Earthquake is a 1-hit KO. Bone Club does not do very much damage. I'm going to shield just because I want to get to that second Earthquake and really just take this to shields down matchup. Oh, and they're going to actually Shadow Ball there, so... but unfortunately, they swap and into an Azumarill. That's so ballsy, I can't even believe it. And also, I'm not sure it was the right play either, because now they have to spend a shield anyways. Shields down, Azumarill. Running Hydro Pump, that's fine. But I know my Deoxys defense is a bit worthless just because of this Alolan Marowak round. So I'm going to throw this Thunderbolt. I have a decent amount of energy stored up, and they're going to come back into the Alolan Marowak. I'm going to get to another Thunderbolt before they get to a Shadow Ball or a finishing charge move, and really get this guy just a bit lower. And oh, luckily for him, he threw that charge move because I was going to get a Psycho Boost off and all that energy would have gone to waste. So I can come with Bastiodon. I'll probably have to tank a Bone Club or 2 here, just because this Marowak was able to farm down so much. He had 2 Bone Clubs, but we'll see what they have left at the end. It's a Ferrothorn. Oh, I remember this match. I really misplay this. I think I just have this match if I keep attacking, but I swap to Meganium and he gets 2 free Bullet Seeds off, which ends up being enough energy for 2 Power Whips. So that's a snatching defeat from the the hands of victory right there. I really should not have lost that game. I should have just kept farming down. I knew he needed 2 Power Whips, but I was really just trying to catch one of them with Meganium. We're going to see another Alolan Marowak lead. Usually not a lead you like to see, but I don't mind. I'm learning matchups anyways, so I can go with the Earthquake again. None of this nonsense baiting. And we're just going to see what happens here. I'll shield because I think at this point it might actually be a Shadow Ball instead of a Bone Club. So I shield the Shadow Ball, and I'm able to get to an Earthquake here. We'll see if they shield or not. There's some lag. Meganium's just dancing. And I'm gonna get 2 shields. So I have switch advantage. Shield advantage coming out of this. And I'm probably gonna be able to farm down this A-Marowak the whole way. Because they know giving up switch advantage to a Bastiodon line is not ideal. But they have a ton of Bone Clubs. I might actually have to spend a shield here. And I'm especially banking that Deoxys Defense can handle whatever comes in after. Yeah, so this is really weird. They go to the Mantine, which I have a Stone Edge charged up. And then they're going to go into a Shadow Gardevoir. So I did not expect this team at all. I will be very honest. This is a very spicy team. Yeah, I'm going to throw a Psycho Boost here. I know that I have a 4x super effective Thunderbolt that I can throw against Mantine, and I have a shield. I know it's probably a Bubble Beam. That's fine. I am 3x debuffed now, but it really does not matter. Mantine takes a ton of damage from Thunderbolt, so we're still going to win this one anyways, and that's because of the shield advantage, that one shield coming in handy at the end. If I didn't have it, the Mantine probably would have Ice Beamed instead of Bubble Beamed, and the game would have been over. So kind of the reverse of last game, making up for that unfortunate loss. We're going to see Stunfisk come in, and there's the Shadow Machamp. So I don't know why it took so long to switch, and unfortunately I'm locked in and I CMP tied as well, so I throw this Frenzy Plant. That's fine. I at least burn the shields, and I'm going to go in with Deoxys Defense. I actually don't know this matchup very well. Usually this doesn't happen to me. But Rock Slide hits like an absolute truck. I really should have shielded the first Rock Slide if I was planning to farm down. And I definitely will next time. Because I end up shielding a Cross Chop there. You'd much rather shield the higher damage move. And spending a shield there to come in with loaded energy against a Stunfisk doesn't really feel good. Because your Psycho Boosts don't really do that much damage after a while. Like, it's nice to take him down this low, but it's not like swapping or an Azumarill coming in after and you being able to just throw Thunderbolts at it. So they're going to swap into Skarmory, which I think might have actually lost them the game here. They should have just kept their Stunfisk in and taken down Meganium, especially because they probably knew that there's a Bastiodon in the back. But the Skarmory's running Brave Bird. It's lowering its own defense so I can farm it down a little bit faster, which is nice, I guess. But now I have a charge move going into the Stunfisk. I don't think a Mud Bomb will KO. It'll be very close. And I can throw Flamethrowers. Hopefully I'll be able to get 2 off. Yeah, very risky play there, but I'm able to get to the next Flamethrower. And I was ready to switch to Meganium. I probably should have switched earlier, but there it is, 4 out of 5 sets. So this team definitely won more games than it lost. It took a little bit of getting used to, and even in the last set, you saw I made some pretty big mistakes. So the fundamentals of this team and team building are very strong. I was just hesitant to try it again after so long, just because first of all, my Meganium, its IVs are absolutely awful. Yeah, they're not good. And then second of all, because of just the purpose of this being a team building experiment, I kind of wanted to keep the team as similar of a playstyle as possible to the original. And this team does kind of step out of bounds a little bit as you can play a bit more around shield advantage instead of switch. But it works pretty fine as a switch advantage team anyways. So anyways, this is the last of the videos. I'll be trying to do that advanced mechanics video about when to use your charge moves by the end of this week. But as far as these team building posts go, I think I've covered hopefully enough that everyone has access to a combination of these Pokemon here and can kind of play along that same play style. So as always, if you're looking forward to these mechanics posts, I think they're going to be more high level, then click that subscribe button and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, guys.